what I'm sharing with everyone out there. You can take a lot of that and scale that up to something that is full time. But it's
I
hard.
found a stack of records in my attic today. An Elvis picture disc and Kenny's big old hay. Put 'em up on eBay for the day was done. Watch the bids roll in till the morning sun.
Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. Well, it's what solds. Just a quick talking point, and then we'll get straight to the what solds here. Today is Monday. Well, Monday for me, and which means hospital duty day. And now that my time is over there, then I can move on to all reselling for the rest of the week, the rest of the time, right? Um, just water today. It's a pretty warm day today, so I just feel thirsty. So I need water. Um, but yeah, my time's done over there. So, after that, it becomes all about the reselling business. And that's what it is. It is a business. And what I was watching a video, and the person was saying that reselling, or what we do, what a lot of us do that share our reselling adventures, that it's not a business, but it is a business. But I believe the point they were trying to make was it's not something that is it's something that's self-sustaining. So if you were to take the most important piece out of that, like for me, it's me. I do the primary listing, I do the primary sourcing, the primary shipping, all the logistic, all the customer service, everything. So I pretty much do the whole thing. There's a lot of us that are like, there are a lot out there like me who just are the person that handles it. And if you take that person out of it, then it's like the air just gets released out of the balloon. Everything just collapses. So it's not something that is, that I can just step away from and it just operates on its own. Yes, sales will still happen if I do step away from it. Um, but I gotta, when I get back to it, I gotta start doing the shipping. I got people instead to keep things going. Um, and I don't have employees or anything like that to continue the work if I were to step away from it. And I'm perfectly fine with that. It's whatever you want to make it. If you want to scale it up to that level, yes. It might be a bit challenging. Like for me, for some of the things that I pick up, and I'll show you in this video, like some what solds where, you just gotta have the eye. And I've talked about this was that this past Saturday's video where, you kind of develop this sixth sense for what can sell and what can't sell. Yeah, I can't really tell you what it is. I just happen to be walking by sometimes. I see items, and I'm like, you know what? I know I could probably sell that item, and I'll pick it up. It's something that's kind of hard to teach. It just comes with experience, and yeah. So it's not self-sustaining. I believe that's what the point they were trying to make was that if you get sick or if you step away, burn out or whatever, then the business just ultimately just fails. It could fail, or it just goes to zero. It's not something that, basically saying that a business is something that is self-sustaining, which um is not necessarily the case. Yes, there are many self-sustaining businesses out there. There are a lot, many. We see them all the time. Target. You take out the CEO, and the business still continues, right? But what we do, and what a lot of us do around here, we are the primary person, the most important employee of our business, and if you take us out, there goes the business, right? But that's okay. Everybody can set their own goals, set their own whatever they wish to do. If they wish to scale it all the way up, if they just want to use this as a part-time gig, which is one of the reasons why one of the primary focus is of this channel of what I do is to focus on the people that are just doing it part-time, because that's the majority. And I've seen the number, they've seen the data on the back end here with eBay, and it's a lot of just part-time people. There's, a lot of them just are not, focused on making this full time. They just want that part-time aspect of it or that hobby aspect of it. And, those are the people that I really, I mean, obviously, if there's anybody out there that you can take a lot of the tools, a lot of the what I'm sharing with everyone out there, You can take a lot of that and scale that up to something that is full time. But it's hard. It's not easy. It's difficult, especially like, picking up all these different items I pick up. A lot easier to scale something if you niche down, in my opinion. Um, Doing what I do, yes, there's probably a ceiling somewhere there. Uh, but it all depends on each individual person. So I've seen, I know someone who does close to $1 million a year doing random, basically storage units, and just on eBay. But mind, this is just on eBay itself. He just whatever he finds in storage units, lists on eBay. Well, the good stuff, the stuff that's worthy of getting posted on eBay, and does close to $1 million a year just doing that. And that's part time. That's part time for him. So, um, so there's all kinds of ways to do it. It is a business. It's not something that is necessarily self-sustaining. You can create it, you can make that if you would like to. But a majority of us out there, if you take the most important employee out of it, it's gone. It's gone. Um, I did pick up another honest, changing subjects. I picked up another cool, mini keyboard here. This is a Cooler Master keyboard. Really, really cool. Just a nice little, gaming, more geared towards gamers and stuff like that. But this is super small. I mean, I thought I was getting small with this one here, but now we're going even smaller. Oh, this is wired. This is Bluetooth. Really, really cool. But let's move on. Okay. So first item here. Where's my phone at? First item here, we have a really cool southwestern, potentially. I could have probably said Native American, Western crossbody shoulder bag. I put shoulder in here just because I didn't think the actual strap was long enough to go crossbody. So I put shoulder bag in here. I took a picture of the whole thing and with my ruler there and everything. But this is one of those items where, there's no name, there's no like brand name to go by. There's no maker. It's just a handmade piece. And just one of those things where normally, even if you Google image it, it really does. It gives you all kinds of different things, not this exact one. So there's just not really any data to go off of. So you kind of got to go off that 6 cents, six cents. When it comes to when it comes to reselling. So I knew this was cool. I knew I could sell it, and it was well made. That's the other thing too. It's a well made piece. You can't pick up cheap, or not well made or not quality pieces. You still got to pick up quality pieces, even though they don't have a name. You got to get good with your keywords. And this one had a really cool pattern to it, design. You could have used turquoise color. Be careful because people might confuse it for actual turquoise. But they're just tiny little beads, and it's a cool pattern, cool design, and it's sold for one in a padded poly bag, by the way. 20. Where'd it go? Oh man, I didn't take the right picture. Dive on it. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me just go into my what solds. Purse. Yeah. It was $25. Yeah, $25. $8.71 what they paid in shipping. It was pretty heavy, so they paid a little bit more for shipping. That's closer to the 1 pound ground advantage rate right there, which they should be changing soon. So it was a bit weighty because of all the beads. So really, really cool. It's another way to determine if it's a good quality piece is by the weight as well too. Not always the case, but it can be an indicator that it could have some more value. I just thought of something I was going to say, but the thought already left my mind. So if it comes back, I'll come back around to it. Okay, this is really cool. I always pick up a lot of vintage computer tech. Just you see me pick up vintage keyboards all the time. They still sell. And there are other types of vintage pieces like older video cards that do really well. This is a sound device. This is an external sound device here by the company Creative, which was pretty big back in the day, back in the early 2000s. You don't really, I don't even know if they're still around or not. I have to look it up, but there's still a lot of their stuff floating around out there. And this was brand new. So you have an XFI, wireless receiver, X dock, really, really cool piece. It would have been cool back in the day. I don't, to tell you the truth, I know these things sell, but I really don't know why. The truth that people still buy them, like video cards, vintage video cards. I do know sell incredibly well, and I know why. For vintage computers, for vintage gaming, retro gaming, because there's a lot of older games that do not run on modern hardware. So you gotta have a older build in order to play a lot of these older games, retro games, and all that. So, but this one here, like, I really have no idea. I knew it sells. I knew I could sell it. So for $30, when a small little box, one of my hat boxes, 975 box. Um, and so, and sure enough, it sold $30, $11.71 what they paid in shipping. So really, really cool. Keep your eye out for vintage computer stuff. Make sure you look it up. Electronics are easy because they usually all have model numbers in the back, which makes it really, really easy to look it up. But not all creative stuff does incredibly well, like creative speakers. I have some old school creative speakers, as speaking of audio and stuff. Why would people buy them? I have a couple of really cool old creative speakers that these aren't my original, but I used to use these way back in the day. And I really liked them. I really, really liked them when I had them. And I came across them again not too long ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use them for my own computer setup here. Okay. I was listening to someone's video not too long ago, and I forgot who, but they were talking about brass and how brass is really starting to make a comeback. Brass does incredibly well. Brass does incredibly well. If you're into scrapping metal, brass does command a premium. So it's definitely something to look into if you are into that. But brass figurines and a lot of the thrift stores, a lot of, when I go to the flea market, brass is usually priced up. Um, it doesn't really go for it doesn't go for as much as people think it does, but it still can command a pretty good price. These right here, these little Hindu brass amulet statues. I'm just throwing out a bunch of keywords out there, trying to trying to help get these sold. Did sell for $25.06, $6.25 is what they paid in shipping. Just really cool pieces, just something to look out for. If you can get brass for a good price. Yeah, most brass, from what I've seen, like brass figurines, will go for around the $20 to $25 ish range, somewhere right around there. So, obviously, those are these ones here are a little bit more. uh, These are small pieces, and if there was just small random animals, I wouldn't expect to get over $20. But if they're somewhat larger animals, then probably more to $25 for those larger animals. But then smaller, if they're just like an elephant or something, like a tiny elephant, you're probably going to be around $10 or so. Like, it's similar in size to these if you just had an elephant. But obviously these are are associated with Hindu, um, uh, with the Hindu gods. Actually, is what they are. So really, really cool. And $25. They want to pat a poly bag, piece of cake. That's what I was going to say. Because I hear people. I heard somebody mention something about. Again, I don't remember exactly. But somebody was talking about how it was in a live show. I do remember that. And someone was they're reading the comment that someone had left, and they were talking about how there's a lot of bad sellers out there that send everything in poly bags, and I really don't know who they're referencing, but I send a lot of stuff out in poly bags, and I'll tell you, I'm going to my feedback right now. How do I get to my feedback? Oh, there you go. I was all lost. I just so happened to be checking my feedback, and good condition, like new, delivery, packaging, excellent. Product was in excellent condition, packed extremely well, fast shipping, great terrific packaging, as described, packed well, fast shipping, great price as described, A plus shipping, A plus packaging, you know, very well bubble wrapped. So, you know, um, I have no problems with shipping, all my items, knock on wood. Of course. Um, you know, when I say I put it in poly bags, this is over 20 years of experience of shipping items out, in and out. So I've learned over the years how to do it well, and one of the things that I've seen in the past is, and one of the reasons why I put a lot of stuff in poly bags, obviously within reason, right? We're not gonna get crazy here and start throwing hats in poly bags. Those they go. That's why I call them my hat boxes, because they go on. Those are the official boxes that my hats go into. But they're very versatile. It's a very versatile size. But the padded poly bag, you can create a nice pillow for a lot of things. I throw plates in padded poly bag. Well, not all plates, but some plates. I really don't do too much on plates, but I have thrown plates in padded poly bags, and they've made it perfectly fine. If you create a nice pillow for your item, so a nice cushion, use bubble wrap, and if you're thinking bubble wrap's super expensive, I mention this, quite often because, you know, if you are turning this into a large operation, then you're going to need to buy supplies at a cheaper rate. You can't go to Walmart. You can't go to Target. You just can't run down to U-Line. No. Sorry, not U-Line. U-Haul was what I was. They all have a U, don't they? That's weird. Um, you can't go over to U-Haul and buy your boxes and your packaging stuff over there. Although they do, I think they do offer fairly competitive rates. But it's expensive. So you got to find some sort of an option to drive the cost of your shipping supplies down, and especially bubble wrap, because if you're dealing in glass things, fragile items, you're going to use a lot of bubble wrap. And I hear people that use small bubble wrap, large bubbles, whatever. They do a combination of both, and then they throw a bunch of packaging stuff in there. I use one type of bubble wrap, and that's just the small little bubbles. I think it's 5/16 or something like that. And then packaging paper. And that's what I use when I'm packaging fragile items. I don't double box or anything like that. I have good quality boxes. Most of my stuff comes from Uline. Actually, all my boxes come from Uline. I just like the quality of the boxes. I was tempted to use boxes from other places, poor quality boxes. I don't have any faith in them. So, I stick to Uline because they're great boxes, and bubble wrap and packaging paper does incredibly well. Okay, let's keep moving. The chicken purse, the good old chicken, and the little coin purse. This is the first time we have found the coin purse with this. Didn't even know it came with a coin purse, but this one did. Um, I think I can't remember the last time I found one. I find these from actually quite often. So they do, and they sell every single time. They usually sell for around $30, and this one went for $27. So this sold for $27, $11.71. I was trying to get more towards the $35 to $40 range for this piece. I was kind of hoping for, because we had the little coin purse, but it didn't. So that's fine. That's typically what these just the purses sell for. So on this one, a 1286 box. Really cool. So definitely keep your eye out for these things. They do incredibly well. Not necessarily every animal shape does really well. Cats do really well. Dogs do okay. But for some reason, roosters. People love roosters. People love chickens. Keep your eye out for them. They do incredibly well. Look at all the keywords there. We got the women's handbag, chick, coin, bag, hen, farmhouse, country. So, trying to get that item sold. Let me just see where I'm at. I put a bunch of pictures in my I have a what sold folder here, and then I just want to make sure I don't overshoot it, because I was prepping for the week. I was getting ahead of myself. I was actually had some extra time, so I was getting ahead of myself, getting some stuff ready to go. Yeah, start prepping my videos. So, if I have extra time, I'll get some stuff done, get some work done. This was a really cool piece. This I found at Savers on the wall. $30 is what this sold for. $30.92. $5 what they paid in shipping. Went in one of my small padded poly bags. But this was really, really cool. It just stood out. The picture really, it's a good picture, I think. I think it's a good picture. But it was actually really, really bright metallic. It had little rhinestones at the center of those little starbursts that just kind of caught the light. That's why I didn't even noticed it. Also with the colors there too as well. Really, really cool piece. Christmas sells all the time. So definitely don't not don't stay away from Christmas because it does sell year round, and don't hold on to Christmas waiting for it to come. Get it all listed, get it up. It still sells throughout the year. There's Christmas in July, which is, yeah, I didn't hear about that until I was older. I didn't know what that was. In California, we don't, Christmas. I think it's an East Coast thing from what I've read. And we're out here in California, so we don't Christmas in July. What are you talking about? Yeah, but this is really cool. So Gold Crown Ink was actual the name on there. So whenever there's a name that's etched into it or it's signed, I'm gonna put signed in the title. I think it helps get to get items sold. Really, really cool brooch. Just a cool piece. Cool piece. It's really, really cool. Like I said, the picture really, really doesn't do it justice. When you see it in person, each color is metallic. So it just kind of shines, in the light. It has that little rhinestone in the middle. So it's a really, really well done, really cool piece. Definitely keep your eye out for it. The gold brown ink is really, really tiny. So you really gotta, well, for me, I just have to put my glasses down. I mean, that's my eyes, I'm nearsighted. Obviously, well, I look kind of look old when I start to do that, right? I'm looking at stuff. But luckily I don't need, knock on wood again. I don't need reading glasses because I have such really great nearsightedness. I'm nearsighted, so I have really great sight that is near. Well, looking, further out, it's bad, but really, really cool piece. Keep your eye out for this stuff. Really, really great items here. So, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But please like, thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by hitting the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting my little round icon down below. It really does help us out here. Also, you'll find a couple of selections. You'll see a playlist of videos to watch and my most recent video that I did upload.